Good evening and thank you for staying with Monday Special. I'm Jackie Maribe. Now, according to the Euromonitor 2014 report on alcohol in Kenya, Kenya rates as the second largest brandy market in Africa. This same report says Kenya is rated as the third largest alcohol consuming country in Africa as well. Now, the World Health Organization Alcohol Global Status Report says 3.3 million annual deaths are as a result of alcoholism. Kenya accounts for over 75% of all alcohol consumed in the region. And 15 million Kenyans consume alcohol on a daily basis in Kenya, 2 million of whom are in need of rehabilitation. According to a NACADA survey done in 2013, 4 million Kenyans consuming illegal alcoholic beverages in Kenya right now, and over 100 people died after consuming a killer brew that swept across 13 counties in the country in 2014. This just a case in point of the situation as is in modern day Kenya. Now, tonight on Monday Special, we're talking about battling alcoholism. There is a very thin line between social binging, toppling over, and going full-blown alcoholics. We are going to engage now. Remember, you can join us, of course, give us your comments, your thoughts on 22422. Remember to leave your name and the location. Of course, there is our Twitter platforms. You can tweet me at Jackie Maribe or at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Special. But even you right there at home, we can do an analysis with you right now. How do you know that you have crossed that thin line between social binging and becoming an alcoholic? Now, there is an analysis called the CAGE analysis. This is an acronym actually of how to know where exactly you would be if you are a consumer of alcoholic beverages. Do you feel the need to cut down on your drinking? I want you to take a piece of paper or just from your head, rate yourself yes as a 1, no as a 0. Once again, do you feel the need to cut down on your drinking? Secondly, are you angry after you drink or when people criticize you for your drinking? Yes, 1, no will be 0. Do you feel guilty after the fact, or have you engaged in any activity or any decision that might have been as a result of your indulgence in alcohol that you will probably feel guilty later? Once again, yes will be a 1, no will be a 0. And finally, do you need an eye opener in the morning? And this is what we would refer to normally in Kenya as kutoa lock. Do you need kutoa lock in the morning? Do you need that one drink to just boot your system, get your nerves going so that you can start with your day? Once again, yes will be 1, 0 will be no. And I will very quickly introduce my panel tonight on Monday Special. Of course, thank you all for joining us on the program. To my very immediate left, we're joined by Rose Mombi. Now, Rose deals with people in rehab, the after process, and of course you are engaged in activities to do with counseling them as well.
Yeah.
Next to Rose is Isaac Ndongo. Isaac Ndongo is a recovering alcoholic. Next is Anne Mathu, who is a recovering alcoholic as well. And finally, we have Joseph Njehia, who is a recovering alcoholic as well. Thank you all so much for joining us on the program tonight. Now, I'll start with you, Anne. We were having a discussion right before, and you said there's no such thing as a recovered alcoholic?
Yeah, actually, addiction or alcoholism is a chronic disease. And so we can never call ourselves recovered alcoholics. We will forever be in recovery because there's no cure. It's manageable, but it's not treatable. I mean, it's treatable, but it's not curable. So recovery is a lifetime process. We'll forever be in recovery. We have to take care of ourselves. Recovery is not easy as people may think. At times people think that recovery is just stopping to drink. No, no, no. There is a lot to it. The emotional part, the spiritual part, the physical part, the financial part, the family part of it. There's a lot to do to deal with in recovery. And actually a recovering alcoholic or drug addict, they need support all the way. And they need support from everyone. You cannot just leave a person because someone has come from the rehab. You just say, okay, fine, amemaliza program yake, so that's up to them. No, 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 no. They need support from family members. They need support from colleagues and the community.
All right. If my director could just show you the board again. The cage analysis that we were speaking about, we want to refer to that now. Now, even you at home, if you are questioning your indulgence in alcohol, the international recognized practice is that if you score a 4 out of 4 on the cage analysis, that means there is need for concern on your indulgence and you might right away need help. This is to say that you might just need to be in rehab right away. If you score a 3 out of 4, once again, there is need for concern. You could be toppling over and the number could go very well down to 2 out of 4. If you scored a 2 out of 4, there is need for concern on your indulgence in alcohol. We're going right now to discuss this. We're going to start with you, Joseph. Talk to us about your journey in alcoholism. When did you realize that you have a problem?
Actually, it's not something that comes to your realization at once. No, this is something that you realize at in a procedural way, because you don't become an alcoholic overnight. It's a process also, funny enough, because you start taking beer. I started taking beer when I was very young. You take 1, you take 2 in social events, experimenting. Then after that, I got a good job. Then you start going out with friends, members day, all that stuff. You know, you continue taking 2, 3, 4, 5 like that without realizing that you are heading there. That's when you take more, you take more, you take more, you take more. So there's that time then when that and you realize that you have it has taken over. When now the drinker is not, you are not the one who is taking the drink. Now the drink is taking you, because you have to get that eye opener. You miss your job. You miss some of the important meetings that you are supposed to be in, or issues that you are supposed to take care of, and you don't feel guilty about it. When it reaches that point, then you realize there is a problem. When you cannot do without it, when you have to take beer so that you can be operational. But you see, most alcoholics don't agree. There is nobody will go and ask and that you are an alcoholic and he'll say yes.
But
no.
what is your life story? Tell us what you do for a living, your family. Do you have a family? And you know, at what point did you just start drinking, engaging or indulging in alcohol? And at what point now did you realize that really, I think my indulgence is becoming a bit of a problem and I probably need help?
I started indulging, experimenting when I was in high school, actually secondary school. We'd go out with some of my friends, take 1 beer or so. Those days you have to have discos. You go to the discos, you take 1 or 2. Then after that, I also college. I went to college. We would also take some of it in the just like adventure in the weekend. Then immediately after college, I got employed and I had a good job. I went during we would also go out with friends, with workmates usually, and take beer, continue taking beer. So after some years, it came to a point whereby I had to take some beer in the morning so that I can go to work, you know. Like that. Sometimes I would miss job because I took so much beer the night before, but I didn't realize what day it was the following day. So I lost my job. Actually, when I was working, there's a time I realized, no, this beer, I'm taking too much beer. I tried to stop. You know, you would say today I'll take only 2 but you go take 2, then you even sometimes go to the pub with only 500 shillings, so that you cannot take more than that. But you still find friends who will buy for you. So in the process, because my work was not according to par, according to my employer, so I was fired.
That's when you realized that
Yes.
now things are getting thick. I want to go to you, Isaac. What's your story? How did you realize that there is a problem?
Basically, I'll also relate with my friend here. Starting to drink on a casual basis, mostly on family occasions. At times, you'll find that even my late dad also used to drink. Give you a sip of the beer, and then high school, I didn't drink as such, but the moment I entered college, basically I've also done my story before. When I got what was commonly called known as the boom, I could be able to finance my drinking and smoking. So drinking, I didn't see as it being a major problem to me as such, because I didn't have any problem in proceeding with my education. So after graduating, I was employed. But then now after being employed, that is where actually the problem started creeping in, because as he had said, where you start noticing your unmanageability now. Basic things you cannot be able to manage because of alcohol itself. There is a question of being late, being a teacher. I'm a teacher by profession. Absenteeism. And then I was interdicted the first, second time. And actually it reached a point where I saw that actually this is a problem and I had to do something about it. And actually I used to enter into a pub and just order soft drinks. To a point where I remember people actually had nicknamed me because of the drink which I was taking, Fantaman. And as the cage itself, that screening itself, it's saying you are trying to cut down. Actually, I tried to delete it, but eventually I went back to it. And consequently, as a result of my absenteeism and then desertion, I was dismissed from duty. So actually, according to what you've asked, the moment that you start realizing basic things, simple things, you cannot be able to manage them, then that's when you realize you have a problem.
And that's when you also realize that you have a problem. All right, Anne, again, another recovering alcoholic, excuse me. What's your story?
Okay, I started drinking when I was a very small girl. Got my first drink from my dad, who was a functional alcoholic, when I was about 10 years old. So basically a party was not complete in our home without alcohol. We started off with Muratina, then graduated to Tusker. This was not an everyday thing, so it was one on and off. And it's like we had said earlier, addiction is progressive. So when I got to secondary school, my dad died in a road accident, and this was a big blow to me. And never went for counseling, loss and grief. You know, people, after the funeral, you're just taken to school. So some of these things, you know, there are so many contributing factors along the way, you know, leading to alcoholism. So actually got into, I was in Gandu Girls, then started introducing other girls to drinking and smoking. Because no alcoholic or drug addict wants to drug alone or drink alone. And it's messed up my education. I didn't pass my exams. I joined Kenya Polytechnic for a diploma course in IM, institutional management. Again, there we had a boom. I was still very young. And then we had a boom of 500 shillings, like he said. And the 500 shillings, Jackie, was a lot of money. Because a beer was going for 3 shillings and 50 cents, so you can imagine. And I also enrolled for Miss Kenya Beauty Contest in 1982. I came second, so being a beauty queen with all the complimentaries, and started modeling for African Heritage. So a lot of money at a very tender age, a lot of freedom. That also contributed to my drinking. And I lost 3 well-paying jobs. I was the first cateress of Moi Equator Girls. I lost that job because of drinking, because it got to a time when I started keeping alcohol in the house, and so 10 o'clock, instead of taking tea, I would actually take alcohol. And then I got a job at Pan-Afric Hotel. Again, the same thing happened after 3 years. I had to be transferred now again to Kericho Tea Hotel. as an assistant housekeeper. And again, the same thing happened. I lost that job because of drinking. So after that, got married to a doctor who was an alcoholic, who later on died. He kept on being transferred from one hospital
And
to
he
another.
was an alcoholic.
He was
as
an
well, your
alcoholic.
husband?
There's no one who can stay with you when you're
When
an
you're
alcoholic.
an
You
alcoholic.
only another alcoholic can stand you. Because you can imagine Jackie even drinking 15 beers. And which man who takes 3 beers would want to marry? You have to get another one
And
who's
they're taking water or tea.
who is taking, yeah, you have to get a guy who is taking equal amount or even more. So actually, even when he died, it was a big blow to me, and his people threw me out and all that with my children. My mom took the children, and then now I had nowhere to stay. I went to live in Thika to live with a family friend, and that's when a friend of mine came from Germany and invited me to Germany, and everybody was very happy that now Gasheri has gone to Germany, so at least the aibu imetuondokea. But let me tell you one thing, transferring an alcoholic from one location to another, you actually transfer the problem. So
It doesn't change the fact that the alcohol is there.
There's so much alcohol in Germany, and I started drinking Russian vodka. And I got married to a German who was also an alcoholic. We came back to Kenya, did a wedding. 6 months later, he died. Because he had what we call gangrene of the intestines. And he went back to Germany, akakufa, never benefited from that marriage. Again, now I started selling things, sold practically everything that I had. From a 4-burner gas cooker to, you sell the 4-burner, buy a 2-burner, then from a 2-burner, you sell the 2-burner, you buy a Meko, and then from the Meko, you buy a stove, and then eventually the stove is, you have no use for the stove.
But was this partly also to sustain your drinking habits?
Oh yes, oh yes. I sold, because like when Daktari died, now I went back, I started drinking 2nd generation alcoholic drinks. And this cheap plastic stuff. So when I went to Germany, came back, now I was a notch higher because now I was on Russian vodka. And then came back Smirnoff. And then now I ran out of money when my husband Vena died. And after selling my stuff, now I had no money again, 2nd generation. Then from 2nd generation alcoholic drinks, I went now to Changa. So I started now visiting the Changa dens and all that. And I was drinking with my brother. And I hit rock bottom, actually, vizuri, when I drank jet fuel.
When you
Me
drank
and my
what?
brother, Jetty Mandege. So actually we went to a Changaden one day, there was raid, there was a police raid. So like my brother told me, ati unajua nini, kuna mapai, sasa hakuna drinks. Nikamuza sasa tutadu, akaniambia we wacha kwanza nikutoe loka alafu nikushow. You know, actually my brother had to bring me Changa because I had sold everything, Jackie. I had only such a thin mattress, 2 inches. And I was living actually opposite the Changaden, so my brother had to actually feed me with Changa kama imekwa kwa plastic bottle, and then give me a roaster cigarette. Ndio nipate kastima, unajua kastima ile kukauka, alcoholic fits. So nakauka, after about 3 minutes inaniwacha, then tunaenda kuhustle. So he told me kuja nitakushow. He took me to another base. This time round we did not drink Changa. It was actually industrial fuel, jetty, what they call mandege. So tukaenda tukawekewa kila mtu glass because there was police can come in anytime. So hapa ni kupiga flash haraka. So nikuwekewa, I told my brother, bwana, hii ni kitu gani na test petrol? Akaniambia piga flash ukalewe mbele. So actually I went blacked out. The following day I woke up, vomited a lot of water mixed with blood and this kind of thing. But 2 weeks before, there's a family friend who had come to, talk to me about rehabilitation, and he left his number behind. And actually, the way Daktari died, he woke up one day, vomited blood, and he was dead within 30 minutes. He died in the house. So actually, when I saw that blood, it reminded me of how Daktari died. So I actually decided to call this guy. He's a recovering alcoholic and an addiction counselor. I said, come for me now, I surrender. And what we talked about cutting down, trying to cut down, I'd tried to go to church many times. At times I would go to a crusade, get born again, and then the following day I forget, memory loss. You forget that you got, I got born again. Na nilikuwa naenda hata huko kwa Changa namwambia kesho msiniuzie nimeokoka. The following day unakuta wamama wamekuja na bebo kubwa.
But then it's at this point where you took the jet fuel that you hit rock bottom.
Yes, exactly. And this is when I saw death. I'd attempted suicide 3 times before, but it had never actually hit me the way when I saw that blood. So it's when I called this guy and said, please come for me. I surrender now. Take me to the rehab you were talking about. And that's how I ended up in Asumbi, Homa Bay.
All right. We're going to take a short short break now, but don't go away. Of course, keep engaging us on 22422. Send us your thoughts, your comments. Are you or a family member or a friend dealing with similar scenarios as Isaac, as Anne, and as Joseph? How do you know you have a drinking problem? Engage us also on at Citizen TV Kenya. The hashtag is Monday Special. We'll be back after these short messages, including also with how to tell if you have a drinking problem and what to do about it and the possible help that you can get. To stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with Monday Special. Tonight we're talking battling alcoholism. Remember, you can keep engaging us on 22422 or on Twitter at Citizen TV Kenya, at Jackie Maribe. The hashtag is Monday Special. And I want to come to Rose. The common factor that we have had from the three of them is that they were introduced by their parents when they were very young. Is this something that you hear a lot when you're dealing with people who are coming for rehabilitation?
Yeah, that is something we hear a lot. One of the things that our parents are doing, they go to social gens with kids and they think it's a cool thing to do. And we have the bouncing castles, the parents are drinking, and the kids are playing. And you know what the kids are picking from the parents is this is a cool thing. So they really want also to try to find out what is in this alcohol. So you find that even kids at a very tender age, they are consuming alcohol.
But then there are those that are literally being handed over, you know, the drink and being told, here, like Anne was saying, or like Isaac was saying, have a taste of this.
Yes.
Is this something that you're hearing a lot?
Yeah, that is something that we hear a lot.
This is what?
And we want to talk to parents out there that you should not expose your children to alcohol. Yeah.
So of course, you know, there is the danger as well of exposure when you're with your children.
Yes.
As young as they are, you would think you're having fun or a social gathering with fellow adults. But now that line when it comes to giving your child something to, I mean, alcohol should not even be sold to someone who's less than 18 years old, leave alone a parent who's giving alcohol to their own children to just have a bit of a taste, because it begins with a taste, right, Isaac?
And still there is one thing which I want to clarify on alcoholism itself as a disease. You cannot actually blame somebody for being an alcoholic. For the kind of behavior that the person has, but the person is responsible for his or her own stability, such that now the society should not actually be blaming you that why are you behaving like this, or looking down upon the alcoholic. It is something within your system, something genetic. You cannot blame something on something somebody has inherited. But now when this issue of rehabilitation comes in, this is where now you'll be able to manage yourself. Now on the same tone, on the question of the parent also, let's say introducing alcohol within that environment to the young kids. Yes, it is bad, but you see now the parent probably doesn't know that. Actually, it's carrying what we call the X factor. But if he's aware, he himself is aware that he has a problem, then obviously that problem he has genetically has passed to the kids. Therefore, you should not expose the kids to alcohol, because automatically that will lead them to being alcoholics. So my general comment on this issue is that don't blame the alcoholic. Take measures, give him a chance, and actually he can stabilize.
And instead actually help them. And
yes, exactly.
You tried to seek help when you realized that you actually have a problem. What happened when you went? In fact, you went for a religious institution and tried to get help?
Yeah, what happened, Jackie, actually, this time around, nobody wanted to be associated with me. Not family members, not neighbors, not even your friends. Because actually the moment you go down with alcoholism, everybody now pulls off. You know, all your friends go. No, you know, wanakuonyesha huyu alikuwaga rafiki yangu, huyu ni wetu, alikuwaga wetu. They don't even want to be associated with you. So actually I felt, because like we say, alcoholism is a disorder of the whole person. And actually I wanted to talk to somebody. I wanted a person who could listen to me. Because everybody was just telling me how useless I was, how baseless I was. Every word with less at the end came to me. So actually I wanted to talk to a person who was not judgmental, a person who could listen to me, a person who could be patient with me, and decide to go to a church. But what happened? I was thrown out, literally thrown out at the door. Ondoa hii ulevi yako hapa. Sasa kusema ukweli, mlevi akienda kanisa, anaenda kanisa because amefika mwisho. Anaenda kanisa akitafuta usaidizi. Anaenda kanisa because tunasikiaga pastors, they can listen to you. And they can give you hope. Because there's nothing more that an addict needs more than hope. That, you know, there is a way out. That they can become a better person. Because they have lost it. They have lost it. So I was thrown out, and they literally took me from the steps za kanisa and threw me on the other side of the road. And actually, I went on and sat on a stone. I cried and I said, surely, if I've been rejected by everybody else, and now the church, why should I leave? Why should I? What am I here for? And I decided to commit suicide. And I went nikakunywa dawa because I was ever in and out of hospital. So what I used to do after hospital, when I'm discharged, I used to put my medication in a tin. So what I did, I went and bought changa. I went to my room, sat on my mattress, took the medication, and waited to die. Then my brother came and rescued me, took me to hospital. So I actually attempted suicide 3 times because nilikuwa nimefika mwisho na maisha. So what I'll tell kanisa, religious leaders, not only kanisa, even temples and whatever, and mosques. If you see an addict coming to church, to mosque, to a temple, they are coming there because they need help. They need to be listened to. They need your attention. They are seeking for attention. They want to change. So give them this chance. Listen to them. They are not the worst people in the world. They are very sick human beings. And they need help. And they need help because addiction is a disease. It is a holistic disease that affects every aspect of a human being's life.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Very quickly, Joseph, did you feel like you were shunned when you had a problem with alcohol?
That one happens immediately. Once you have a problem with alcohol, immediately, like, you are fired from the job you are holding. The people you used to socialize with, those ones are the first people who will shun you. And so you go to the next lower level, whereby you feel superior to the
So when you had your job and you had the money to sustain, you know, the indulging in alcohol, your friends were there.
They were there.
Once you lose your job, they do not want to associate.
And that one happens.
Okay.
They are not there. So what happens to an alcoholic is that you go to the next level of income. First of all, with the income you have. And also, because most alcoholics, let me tell you, are very intelligent people. Very intelligent people, because they are able to afford alcohol even if they are jobless. So they must be very intelligent to get money to buy alcohol. So you go to the next level of people where you feel superior, so that you can also join that group.
But how is that? Let me just interject. How is that? Because, you know, for all of you who are saying there was no money, there's no income, but you will find a way to sustain your drinking habits. And you're saying you sold almost everything you had.
Almost everything.
Everything.
In fact, when I checked into when I was being taken to the rehab, my neighbor gave me some sandals. I had nothing. I used to wear 2 slippers.
You sell all the way to things that you're wearing to sustain your. You sell everything, even to things that you're wearing to sustain your drinking
my
habits.
last pair of shoes I sold in the Changaden. I went to a Changaden, I removed the shoes, I told them niweke glass. So they gave me slippers, 1 blue, 1 red, one red. So I used to walk around everywhere in Makongeni with slippers as ifanani. And I used to think it's cool. So actually when I was going to the rehab,
for the sake of a glass.
Yeah, for the sake of a glass, because actually it gets to a time now when you cannot function without alcohol. So actually what happens, Jackie, there's a big difference between alcohol abuse and alcoholism. You know, alcoholism, first of all, it's characterized by obsession, continuous thinking about, you know, alcohol, compulsion. That's when the cravings now will come, loss of control, such that when you start, you are not able to stop. And then the withdrawals which come in the morning, and then ndio sasa inakubidisha utoe lock to stabilize.
Yeah, you cannot operate without
to stabilize, and then the development of tolerance. The moment you have those five, you are an alcoholic.
Or because actually, you know, how to tell if you have a drinking problem, apart from the things that you're saying, and even for those of you watching at home, is when you have behaviors like drinking for the purpose of getting drunk. Do you agree? Do you drink just for the sole purpose of getting drunk, getting that high?
Yeah.
Let me say it's to stabilize.
It's to stabilize. It's like we were saying in the cage analysis, you need that eye opener.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need that eye opener
For you to
now.
go on with
yes,
your day.
to stabilize, because at times the withdrawals can be very, very, very severe. And I'm telling you, withdrawals from alcohol kill faster than withdrawal from any other drug, even heroin and cocaine.
Or even cocaine?
Oh yes. Believe you me, you see a person who is withdrawing from alcohol in the morning, they are shaking, they are diarrheaing, they are vomiting, at the same time they are sweating, they are palpitating. Roho unasikia kama imetoka kwa chest imeingia kwa mdomo. The moment
There's
you
the
take one-
tactile effect
yes,
where you feel like
and you
insects
will
are
feel
all over
even-
your body.
Even
You hallucinate as well?
Exactly.
exactly.
You hear voices?
Hallucinations. You see things, you hear things, you feel things which are not real. Voices that are telling you come for me, and you see dead people coming for you.
You see dead people?
Oh yes.
All right. Do you also, just a quick yes or no from the three of you, were you drinking alone or keeping it secret?
I never drank alone.
You never
don't
drank
drink-
alone?
You know, you don't drink alone.
But,
Isaac?
I'll say this, because it's something which is progressive. Initially, my drink in a group, but as it progresses on, you'll start isolating yourself.
You can just go sit alone and have that
Exactly.
drink
You don't
because you
want to be
need
bothered.
to. All right.
want to be bothered.
Were you drinking to escape your problems?
Yes.
Yeah, that is true.
And
No, me, it came to a time when I did not know why I drank.
you were just drinking?
I was just
That
drinking.
goes back to drinking for the purpose of getting drunk.
No, drinking to stabilize, just drinking to function. This time you drink to function. You cannot function, Jackie, without that alcohol. Alcohol becomes your higher power. You worship it. You even talk to it.
You talked.
Yes, kuja pombe nikukunywe. You have such a good relationship with that drug.
I'm not laughing at you. Sorry.
You know, at a certain stage, your life is
You
so
become
hopeless.
insane, you become crazy.
You live for that bottle because you have nothing to
You
do.
have nothing to live for.
Yes.
Rose, how do you assist people in this particular situation? Do they come on their own volition? Or do you have to literally now go out and look for Isaac, Anne, and Joseph and tell them, listen here, it's time you get help?
What we do, we fish them wherever they are, and we teach them on. We tell them on the reason why they should change. We try to encourage them to change. Then now from there, we take them to a rehabilitation center. Now from the rehab, we now help them to stabilize. For example, we try to engage them in agribusiness. Like Joseph is an interior designer. After the rehab, he's now doing interior designing. So we help him. He's a teacher. We are helping him. So that is what we do.
How do you deal with withdrawal symptoms? Because I'm assuming, obviously, as you're saying, when you wake up and you need to stabilize is the word, in the morning and you're somewhere in a rehabilitation center and you're locked, how do you deal with the withdrawal?
Actually, what happened, we take them to the rehabs and they are so willing. But then after a few days, they want to run away. So it's really we have to work with them, we have to encourage them, and until they change.
Do you have
It's
people,
not
Rose,
easy, though.
who back out
Yes,
in
we
the
have.
middle of it?
Yes, we have.
all the time?
Yeah, we have people who back out. They say, no, I'm not ready. I thought I was ready, but I just want to continue. As she mentioned, you know, you have to always want more to stabilize or to function. And once they're in the rehab center, they are not able to access.
All right. A question that I saw here, and also one that my director, Carol, is asking, is there medicine for withdrawing from alcohol?
Within the rehab setup itself, there is a doctor who actually comes to see you, and there's medicine which you are given so as to be able to handle
in the
symptoms.
In the initial stages, depending on how much you have taken. Once you come to the rehab, in the initial stages, if you have taken so much and you cannot, there are people who, if you stop it immediately, they'll go nuts naturally. They'll go
It's a
nuts.
process.
So there's something which is called detoxification. They are taken for detox.
There's a medically supervised one.
Yeah,
and there's
it's
a
a
natural.
Yeah,
And there's the
they
natural,
go for detox.
All right.
Yeah, it's a process to reduce the pole.
All right.
Yeah, so them, they got medication. Us, we never got medication. We went through it naturally. I'm telling you, we suffered. Actually, mine took about 14 days. It was 14 days of suffering. No medication, no nothing. So it was just diet and exercises.
Do you get violent at any point when you feel like you need?
When you're withdrawing?
Yes.
The good thing is you have so many people around you who are comforting you, who are telling you they went through this and you're going to make it. And it was, they love one another so much, from the counselors to everybody else who understands what alcoholism is all about.
And of course,
if you do not understand alcoholism, if you do not understand alcohol abuse, if you do not understand the alcoholic, you cannot be able to help them. You've got to understand those three.
And
But
that goes to show.
there are sometimes people who are violent. Like the rehab I was in, that's Fountain of Hope. There's a time one guy who was withdrawing from heroin. He went total nuts, and we even asked the clients, tried to catch him, but we couldn't. He broke all the windows and tossed the TV out.
It.
Yeah?
And he threw the TV.
Yeah, he took the TV and threw it out. Sometimes the withdrawals,
Very severe.
yeah,
You
they
get
can
to
be
see a
severe.
lot.
Yeah?
You get.
Last time you are fighting the
You know the guy is mad.
Chinese.
He wants to leave. He wants the heroin is not there.
Yeah.
He cannot understand why he's
You
there.
find Satan is coming to you.
Yes.
So you'll take anything and throw. Because I remember I used to hide under the bed, and it's during the day. You sleep on the bed, but later on you find yourself under the bed, and you've actually pulled the bed cover because you don't want to see any light.
We really do have to take a break. Now, but very quickly, do you see people who are probably in a worse off situation than you are and tell yourself, well, I mean, that's not me, so I can handle this?
Yeah.
Because it's just like you're fighting what? Mashetani. And
Mashetani is, and there's no shaitani. You know,
it's a hallucination.
It's hallucination.
And
You
your
see crazy stuff.
Yes.
At times you might sit like this and then you feel bugs under your skin. You're trying to remove the bugs and you actually take a crochet or a fork and you start digging and then blood is coming out and then you start running away from the blood which is on your hand. How do you run away from the blood that is on your hand?
Alcoholics cannot naturally sleep. You know that? Cannot just go to bed and sleep sober. It's totally impossible. So you have to go and sleep when you're totally drunk. So supposing you are not drunk completely and you go to sleep, you have to see those things.
Those things have to come.
Those things have to come.
It's not a laughing matter. It's very serious. I mean, the stories are well, interesting, but it is actually a very serious issue. We have to take a short break now. Don't go away. We'll be back with, of course, Hussein Mohammed, who will be joining me to give us. Hussein is dying. Hussein is actually dying in studio right now. I wish you could see him, but he'll be back with us to give us some of your views, of course, on Twitter and on our SMS platform. Once again, this is not a laughing matter, only that the stories are actually interesting and a bit funny, but we do have a crisis and we have to find a solution on how to battle alcoholism. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to Monday Special. We're winding up now and we're going to take a look at what you've been saying on Twitter and 22422. A lot of feedback we're getting tonight. Let's take a look at what you've been saying on Twitter using the hashtag Monday Special KE. Mark Dacascos, alcoholism is a worldwide disaster which needs to be tackled effectively. Words of Wisdom 1, alcoholism is a lifelong journey. People need support and education to really overcome it.
At MR Nyoike says drinking starts as fun and many don't realize when they slip into alcoholism. At Eric Kogi says alcoholism is a disaster to any sober community or society. It erodes moral values and puts families in destruction mode.
And Angel _Pompey, accepting that you may have a problem and seeking help where necessary is often the biggest steps to cutting back on alcohol. At Gijit, alcoholism does not only affect the individual but the whole family system, mostly immediate family members. On 22422, we have somebody here who says, I am from Thika, Makongeni. My brother Johnny was drinking with her. I don't know if she's talking about Anne or who. And her brother Madhu. And unfortunately, this is sad. Unfortunately, he died in 2000, the year 2000, due to liver failure. We are sorry about that. I love my brother. He died in the month of May and I was buried on the 30th of May. Did her brother survive? He's asking. My brother was well educated, wish he lived. Every family in Thika has lost one member to alcoholism. It is worse than HIV over there.
Indeed, and someone here saying alcoholism is destroying families. Wife, mother, alcoholic is far worse since kids are left with little care from busy dads, and you need ways to overcome alcohol and peer pressure.
Right, Vanessa, I think in Mombasa, mzee wangu anamkanga 6 kulewa, that is in the morning, hawezi kunywa chai, and he will drink the whole day. Sasa ameniambukiza, inalewa hadi saa hii when I'm watching this program.
Wow.
Inalewa too. So she's asking, how can you help her? Of course, it was a very interesting topic tonight with the guests that we had, very interesting, and there a lot of people are talking about the kind of guests we had. It was bordering actually on, there's a question here. Sorry? Right, okay. Where, before I go to the final responses on 22422, Rose, the question is to you, finally, very briefly, where can people go for help?
We have various rehabilitation centers, and they can get in touch with us. Miss Jubilee Foundation, they can even look at our website and we'll assist them, because we are working with various rehab centers. Yes.
Where are you situated? Is there a website that people can find you through?
Yes. Miss Jubilee Foundation .co.ke.
Where are you situated?
We are in Biashara Street, Denver House, 4th floor. Yes.
All right.
Right. I was saying it was interesting. Sometimes people were laughing in the studio. Some may find it offensive.
Yes.
But of course, it's how they were telling the stories. And a lot of people are talking about how easy they were when they were talking about it. That is why Faith Valerie from Comarock saying, oh, thank God, if that lady could stop drinking, then everyone should be in a position to stop drinking. And he's praying for all the addicts. And again, just to show why people are really appreciating how you were talking about your experiences very well. Carol says, I think NACADA or the government should find a way of developing rehab centers with minimal or no fees. There are many alcoholics out here and in need of rehab, but we all know how expensive they are. And somebody says, actually, they should be absorbed into NACADA because of how you're talking about it. So.
Exactly, and something we were also meant to tell you, Joseph has been in recovery for 4 years now, and who has actually even written a book, says Sober Again, How I Beat Alcoholism After 20 Years of Persistent Drinking, has been in recovery for 9 good years. And Isaac, you're about to finish your 2nd year in recovery. Remember, there are also a lot of issues around battling alcoholism, Hussein. It has impacts on your health, it has impacts on your family situation, of course on your financial status, as most of them were saying that you can lose your job. So there are very many things to consider, psychological, physical, and health long-term effects. So these are very serious challenges. Again, as Hussein was saying, some might have found it offensive, but some are appreciating the fact that they were very open and in a joking manner. It makes it real, but that does not negate the reality that we have to find solutions on how to battle alcoholism. My name is Jackie Maribe. Thank you so much for joining us on Monday Special. See you again next week, Monday. Good night and God bless.
Good night. I'm Hussein Mohammed.